This tape is to provide you drills and skills for your team, for the 3v3 and primary divisions. This tape will hopefully help you guide your players through our program to be more successful and more skillful players in the future. The first order of business at any practice is obviously warm-ups. Warm-ups can be easily conducted by using a square of 10 paces by 10 paces, or it could be bigger depending on the sizes of the players as well as the number of players. The square is used for the purpose of restricting the movement of players as well as forcing them to dribble in and out of each other and be aware of other players within the vicinity. Outside of the feet, please. Inside of the feet. And remember to change direction. Besides using the square for warm-ups, it can be used to play fun games. Fun games provide the player an opportunity to learn new skills while having fun. The first game I would like to introduce to you is Engine and Caboose. This requires that the players are set up in pairs. Each pair has one ball. The player with the ball will follow within the square the player without the ball. That means that the player could turn, it could go in different directions, causing the player with the ball to have to cut and turn into different directions with the ball. Switch. Switch. Another game I would like to introduce to you is Sharks. Shark is played in the following manner. Within the square there are 4 corners. In those 4 corners you place 4 players with the ball, the remaining players without the ball in the center of the square. The object of the game is that the players in the corner with the ball should tag below the knee the players with the ball by kicking it to it. Any player who kicks it above the knee will be disqualified of the game. The winner is that one who has accumulated more tags. The players who get tagged will go to the corner of that player who tagged them. The winner also of the players who don't have the ball will be the last player to be tagged. The following game that I would like to introduce to you is Monster Attack. Monster Attack is a fun game. You will have your entire team within the square with the ball except for one player. Or you could use 2 players if you wish. That player object is to kick everybody else's ball outside the square. Those players who get their ball kicked out of the square will have to stand outside the square and juggle the ball. This game will provide the kids the ability to shield the ball and keep it away from an offending player. Traffic Dribble, another fun game to play within our magical square. Is everybody has a ball and they're within the square and the coach will give different commands. Okay, green light, first gear. Second gear, 3rd gear, number 2, make a group of 3. Okay, 2 jumps, please. Okay, green light, go. Second gear, 3rd gear, fourth gear. In summary, fun games is a great way to teach kids soccer. They do not get bored and they get a lot of touches to the ball and they learn new skills every time they play the game. One way to find out about new games is to consult other coaches, to even talk to your own players that will put new variations to the game, or you come up with new variations to these different games, as well as consulting libraries, books, and tapes on the subject. I'm going to introduce you now to individual ball handling skills. I'm going to show you several of those moves that you can use with your players at every practice. The players here are tapping the ball with the bottom of their feet. This drill requires the top of the foot on the bottom of the foot on top of the ball, pulling the ball back and stopping it. Now using the top of the foot to stop the ball. This drill requires that the player puts the top his or her foot on top of the ball, pulling it back and receiving it while hopping. He pulls the ball back and stops it with the inside of the foot. The player starts rolling the ball to one side and stopping it with the other foot. There is a crossover of the feet, as you notice. This drill teaches agility as well as learning to change the ball of direction. Helps the player with its balance as well as ball control. This is a pull back, hitting the ball behind the support leg. Watch the player hit the ball and bring it around. It's to change directions in the field as you're dribbling toward an opponent. This is a little more sophisticated technique for a little more older players in our primary program. Another set of basic foot skills are as follows. Number one here will be rolling the ball. And the player just rolls it. This is for very young players just to get adjusted to the ball. Switch, please. The next one will be side to side using the inside and the outside of the foot. These are very basic moves that eventually will turn into fakes and turns, but for the younger player, this is the beginning. And last one will be to pull back and follow. Pull back and follow, and pull back and follow. Pull back and follow. The following drill is a foot skill drill done in a group, and as follows. Please. They're cutting with the inside of their foot as they go toward the center with the right foot, and they're cutting with the left foot as they go back to their bases. Observe the players going. One player is the leader, and he or she calls the starting of the drill. Now they're going to switch to the outside of their foot cutting. Go. This drill helps them deal with other people around their vicinity and to keep their ball under control, besides working on their foot skill of cutting with the outside and inside. Okay, please players do pullbacks. And players alternate feet as they go toward the center. The next session I would like to introduce is heading and trapping. Heading and trapping will provide the ability to the player to bring the ball under control on those balls that come at different heights and from different directions during the matches. Please pick up the ball and do the first trap with your right foot, bottom of the foot. Go. Alternating feet. As the player gets confident, they can move up to hip height, or it can go higher to chest height, or higher, depends on their ability and skill. Players, please get on your knees, pick up the ball with your hands, and now toss the ball up and get up and trap it with your right foot. Okay, go back and do it again. And now use your left foot. Players, now stop and sit down, put in your legs on a Y, picking up the ball with your hands, and tossing it up and trapping it with your right foot first. Go. Pairs doing chest trap. Please pick up the ball and throw it underhand. The player receiving the ball puts one foot in front, one in back, using the chest area to receive the ball. The player receiving the ball attempts to pass the ball and as fewer touches as possible. The player trapping tries to make a pocket with his chest area in order to cushion the force of the ball. At a short distance, players learn to receive the ball in a much easier manner without being threatening. As they get confident, the distance and the height of the ball can be increased. This is a new set of players demonstrating the thigh trap. Please pick up the ball and throw it underhand to your partner. And as you notice, he's trapping it with his thigh and returning it back in 2 touches. Again, we want to emphasize as fewer touches as possible. They are doing a great job. I'm going to introduce now heading. Heading, first we're going to introduce it for the little kids, the 3v3 players, kindergarten and first graders. We don't recommend to use a regular ball. Instead, we replaced it with this foam ball or a plastic ball. Please demonstrate heading. As you can see, it's easier on the players and they have fun with it. And you can also use a rubber ball instead of a foam ball to do the same process of heading. Passing is our next subject, and we're going to demonstrate a passing warm-up drill as follows. Please, kids, start. If you notice, half the players possess the ball and half of the players don't. The players without the ball request the ball from the players who have it. Once they receive it, they sprint for 5 yards. This drill demonstrates passing and possession of the ball, changing direction, and receiving the ball from different angles. The following drill is a basic drill for 3v3 players and 5v5 players. It's very basic and it teaches the players how to pass and be efficient about it. So please, players, start. As you notice, one player is on his knee, and I call the coach's player because he helps the player do an efficient way of passing. Gets a lot of passing done in a very short amount of time. The player is always in the ready position on their toes, waiting for the ball in the ready position, moving his feet and passing the ball with the inside of the foot. Notice how he locks the ankle to pass and shows the inside of his thighs as he passes. His head is looking down and steady as he passes the ball. He steps into the ball as he passes. Now he also does variations, which he does inside, inside. Inside, inside. And that shows the player how to use both parts of their feet. Nice and easy. Even a kindergarten can do this as they get comfortable with the drill. Following, our player will show more complicated ways to deal with the ball. So he'll use outside, inside. So the same foot as you notice, outside, inside. One of the simplest drills to do on passing is to set up the team in two lines, and they are paired up. The players are paired up with one ball each pair. Now let's watch it do it by our players, please. Very simple passing. In this drill, they're practicing with moving with the ball and passing either a first or second touch. Choose to use the inside or the outside of the foot to pass. The younger players should practice only with the inside and then work up to use the outside of their foot. The next drill I would like to introduce to you will be facing lines passing. The option here by the coach is to go to opposite lines when they run after the pass, or to run within the same line. Please, players, start the drill. We're demonstrating opposite lines running. In other words, the player after passing runs to the opposite line. It teaches the players to, after passing, to move to space. The players are trying to maintain two touches by bringing the ball across their body and passing it. Nice and easy. They are passing the ball, as you can see. While they're waiting, they are on their toes, getting ready for the pass, in the ready position. They could have as an alternate to pass within the same foot, or to use both feet. One to control the ball, and one to pass it. This is the basics of passing and receiving. This is passing in a square. The player in the center receives the ball, and two touches passes it back to the same player that received it from. Passing and receiving again. Helps the player also turn in different directions and be aware in all directions. Coaches can rotate players in the center after one or two rotations. The next we're going to demonstrate is a variation to the previous drill. Please, players, get rid of the ball. Now we only have two. Start, please. Gives it back, as you notice, and then sends it across to the player behind him. He's always turning to the opposite corners. This drill introduces diagonal passing, and it goes as follows. As you notice, a player passes, two players remain stationary with the ball, and they're passing the ball and producing give and goes or wall passes. The players receiving the ball on the corners that are stationary are timing the passing with the runs. This is a more complicated drill. It will be for more older groups. And please, coaches, do not get frustrated if it doesn't work at the beginning. It takes time for players to learn to time passing to runs. As you notice, one of our players is the commanding player. It tells when the pass should be executed. I would like to introduce to you a crossing shooting drill. The main emphasis here is to teach players to cross the ball in front of the mouth of the goal. So following our players will show that. Please, players, start. As you notice, we have set up two lines. One line is passing the ball, one line is shooting. The ball comes across, players finishing with a shot, and they go behind the goal and they crisscross, switching lines. So both players get a chance to pass and to shoot. Number 8 is a drill that emphasizes passing and speed. As you notice, he passes the ball back to the player who gave it to him and goes around at a faster speed. It forces the players to change the pace of speed and deliver the ball. The ball should play to him short and soft to force him to change his speed. This drill is called relay. Please, players, start. As you notice, we started with 2, you can do it with 3. They're playing 2 touches, one to control it, one to pass it. Nice and easy balls, and they are moving into space as they pass. and they're crossing each other. It teaches the players not only the passing skills, but also to move out after passing. It's a nice warm-up drill too to do, as well as a regular drill for practicing passing and accuracy. I would like to introduce to you a very exciting subject, which is shooting. Players look forward at every practice to do shooting. Shooting brings scoring as well as scoring possibilities. So please watch in the following segment our players demonstrating it with both the inside of the foot as well as the instep. As you notice, they are pushing it with the inside of the left foot and shooting it with the instep of the right foot. And they will do obviously vice versa. Coaches should emphasize and encourage players to use both feet for both passing and shooting. They bring the ball across their body and then they are setting it up for the shot. The following drill is a dribbling and shooting drill. Very simple, especially for our 3v3 and 5v5 players. So please watch our players demonstrate it. Again, the coach will emphasize using both feet for shooting. The coach may add a goalkeeper and then eventually add maybe defenders to make it a little bit harder. This drill demonstrates balls being shot from different angles of the field, as well as being received from different parts of the field. So let's watch our players demonstrate it. Please start. Again, players can choose to use the instep or the inside of the foot. For purpose of this drill, we're only showing passing coming from the left side of the field as the players face the goal. The next drill is bouncing balls and trapping and shooting. So we're going to see our players receiving the ball. First, very simple, and then they'll try to do it on the second bounce. So please, let's watch our players demonstrate. Start. Simple. Simple. Notice that the players get their body behind the ball and then they shoot the ball after they bring it under control. You're emphasizing shooting with left and right. And now players are going to try to get to the ball before the second bounce. This drill introduces a concept of close-up shooting, where most of our goals usually happen in a match. The players now are required to pass and time their passing with their shooters. Okay, as you're going to notice the players demonstrating, both players will have to shoot with both the left and the right foot. Start. We place a flag, thus they have to go around it. And as they come around, the player executes the pass. And as you notice, then there is the finishing shot. This drill introduces turning and shooting. The player has his or her back to the goal and is going to turn and shoot. We have introduced a goalkeeper as well as a full-size goal. So please watch our players demonstrate it. As you notice, players are trying also to use both left and right side to shoot. This next drill introduces the idea of 1v1 in front of the goal with the goalkeeper. The object of the game is that the player tries to score as many balls as possible in the shortest period of time. The coach will be issuing the balls out to the players. So players, are we ready to start? Next group. Ready? Play it. Introduces the concept of dribbling too and shadowing the ball. Play it. Okay. Ball. Ball. Switch. Rapid shooting, a drill that introduces quick responses to the ball, one touch to finish in front of the goal. Balls will be delivered one after the other, either volleys or ground balls or bouncing balls. The player has to deal with all those kind of alternatives. This is for the more older and sophisticated player. So please watch our players demonstrate it. This drill could be modified by placing the players farther back from the goal and issue them more passes, more balls to shoot. Long distance ones, and as they get closer to the goal, obviously they'll be more powerful down to the ground shots. This drill introduces shooting from different angles of the field, from the right, left, and center parts in front of the goal. Our players are going to be shooting stationary balls. Let's observe them do it. Players' approach to the ball has to come from the side. The support foot has to be even with the ball as they strike the ball. Ball should be struck with the shoelaces in step. This tape will provide you with basic drills and individual skills for the recreational player. That is the U11s, U12s, U13s, and U14. The warm-up, the first order of business at any practice. We set up a square and we place our players, each one of them with a ball, and then they're going to be dribbling around the square. So let's watch our players demonstrate. Remind the players to change direction, and that this still is a warm-up and their speed should be generally slow. They are warming up. The coach will dictate different restrictions while they're warming up. Dribble only with the inside of your feet, please. The outside of your feet. Outside of your right, inside of your left. Outside of your left, inside of your right. Stop the ball and go backwards by placing a foot on top of the ball. Switch feet. Now go back forward again normally, dribbling in and out of each other. Another warm-up drill that I would like to introduce is a passing warm-up drill. So please watch our players execute it. Please start. As you notice, half the players have the ball and half of them don't. The players that is free ask for the ball from the player who is dribbling in place or moving in place with the ball. Once the player receives the ball, it sprints between 3 to 5 yards. We're doing this warm-up within the confines of a square. A square could be between 15 to 20 paces, depending on the sizes and the ages of the players and the number of players you have available. This drill involves every player in the team with the ball except for one player. The player that is free will be trying to gain the ball from the other players. Once he have won the ball, then it will continue on and that free player now goes after somebody else. It's a drill that emphasizes shielding the ball, defending, and winning the ball from players. So let's watch our players demonstrate. Please start. This drill is a drill that provides the ability for the player to cut the ball both with the outside and the inside of the foot while they are building endurance to prepare them physically for the game. Let's watch our players demonstrate. Please start.
Go.
As you know, our players are cutting with the outside of the right foot and they are running to targets, which it could be set up to 10, 20, and 30 yards or whatever distances you want your players to practice it on. They'll do the first series with the outside of the right foot, then they'll do the next series with the outside of the left foot cutting.
Go.
Then they'll cut with the inside of their feet as it's coming up next.
Go.
Next, I'd like to introduce some individual skill drills. The players should practice these drills both at practice as well as home to help them improve in their own personal performance during practices and games. In this particular move, the player is faking to go to one side and taking the ball to the other. Encourage the player to both use the right and left side. Notice that she fakes to one side and then takes it to the other side of her body. The next move, she rolls the ball inward and then pushes it with the outside edge of the foot. Again, she emphasizes both right and left side. This is a good fake to move the opponent to one side, giving you a space in which to dribble through. The following move, you notice that she steps over the ball and pulls it. Again, she's doing both right and left foot. This move requires to let the ball go, jump over it, and bring it back in the same direction. Notice the player jumps over and goes over the ball, striking it with the outside of the foot. The next drill is called the back heel. The player back heels the ball in front of their foot. Notice that she brings the legs and actually crosses them. This is a back pass as well as a move. It could be used for takeovers as well as to defeating an opponent. This is called a cutback. The player dribbles with the ball at high speed, being followed by a player, cuts back the ball with the inside of their foot. Notice how she brings the body around, knees are bent. These are additional players' individual moves. Let's watch this player do this one. She pulls back with one foot, the same foot takes it with the inside of the foot, opposite direction. Very easy to execute. It could be used in warm-ups as well as in regular practice. The player should be encouraged to practice this move at home. Notice that she does it with both the left and the right foot. Her knees remain bent slightly to remain in balance during the motion of this move. In this move, as you notice, she pushes the ball forward, steps over it, and turns in the opposite direction. Changes the direction during an attack or while confronting other players to pass the ball back to maybe a supporting player. She again is doing her left and right foot. You want to emphasize that at your practice. In this move, notice that she approaches the ball, almost steps over it and brings it back with the inside part of the foot. Again, it can use to stop a ball from going out of bounds, to beat an opponent, change direction. After she brings it back, she can push with the outside of her foot to take it back. The takeover drill provides different tactical abilities for the players. They have a space behind them once they receive the ball. It produces shooting opportunities during a game. And it's a good communication drill. It helps the team come together and players communicate with each other. So please, let's observe our players demonstrate. Please start. The player without the ball is the one who commands for the ball. Obviously, the player with the ball during a game has the choice to give up the ball or not. Depends on the circumstances during that game. I would like to introduce to you overlaps. Overlaps emphasizes passing and communication. It produces a pass into open space as well as a run into open space, getting sometimes even behind the defense of the opposition.
Overlap. 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 Overlap.
A variation of this drill is when the players and the pairs pass between each other.
Overlap. 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 Overlap.
The following drill introduces passing with pressure. There are 4 players assigned to the edges of the square. They are passing the ball among each other, and 2 players who are inside the square playing defenders. The defenders are trying to obviously intercept the passes, and once they do so, they will switch with the players on the edge of the square. Let's watch our players demonstrate it. If a split occurs, then the coach may assign an extra turn into the square. Communication among the 2 defenders as well as the passers is essential. Players are trying to achieve 1-touch passing or 2 touches, 1 to control and 1 to play. This drill introduces the concept of chipping the ball. First, the player in the center will set up the ball for the pass to be executed over the head of the center player. Let's watch our players demonstrate. We're introducing now heading. Heading is used in our games well as to attack, score, and pass the ball. In this drill, the player has to make the choice to pass to the open player, the one that does not have the ball. Let's observe our players demonstrate in this drill. Heading between 2 players. They'll be feeding the ball to the player on the center. This player will just head regularly, in other words, with the forehead jumping up or with his feet on the ground. They also will demonstrate diving headers as well as deflections. Notice how his player maintains his foot or both feet on the ground to give himself support and balance, hits the ball properly, uses his neck muscles to hit the ball. He hits it either to the hands of the player or to their feet. Notice in deflections, he's trying to use the back side of his head instead of the forehead to deflect the ball. This technique is used in front of the goal as a cross ball comes to deflect it to the back player, the open player, to shoot into the goal. Or it could be deflecting to a pass or somebody who's asking the ball behind the player. Heading in front of the goal, a very simple drill. 2 lines, 1 line next to the goal with the ball, 1 line onto the goal. They're going to run in, these players are going to toss the ball to them to head it in. Let's watch our players demonstrate it. The next subject I would like to introduce is trapping. Trapping with the bottom of the foot, the thigh, the chest, and the head. As you notice, the players are pushing the ball forward with the bottom of their foot, and they're passing it back with the inside of the foot.
Go. 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 Go.
They're coordinating between the two pairs. That shows teamwork and communication.
Go. 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 Go.
Notice the players use the thigh, and they receive the ball back. They pass it back without letting the ball touch the ground. They could use alternating different thigh, the right or the left, and passing the ball back to the player. You want to emphasize players to use both legs, both thighs, both feet.
Go. Go. Go.
Notice in the chest trap, the players lean back, let the ball hit, and they're striking the ball back to their partner before it touches the ground. Also serves as a quick drill or quickness drill. The player also should alternate trying to strike the ball with different parts,
Go. Higher.
right or left foot.
Go. Go.
Notice in this one, the player hits the ball up and then strikes it back as the ball hits the ground, back to his partner.
Go.
Other trapping drills are deflections with the chest, where the ball is moved into a space or to the space in front of the player, and also inside and outside of the foot trapping. The ball then is moved into space rather than to do it in a stationary basis. As you notice, the players move the ball from side to side with their chest in order to redirect the ball, rather than to do it in front as it was demonstrated previously. It gives the opportunity to the player to see around other players and to seek out the open space. Notice in this one, the players use the inside of their foot to carry the ball across their body and into space, and then passing it back to their partner. As the players get comfortable with this drill, the balls could be harder, higher, and deliver it from longer distances. Players try to maintain at least 2-3 touches to the ball, no more than that, in order to expedite the way the ball is delivered to the partner. Notice players here are using the outside of the foot to trap. Again, they're moving the ball to space, and as they're moving it into space, they're also looking up to scout the space in front of them. So in a game situation, they're looking for the next pass, the next available player. This teaches the players not to do stationary trapping, because this gets them into action a lot faster and starts the counterattack right away. Notice the players wait for the ball on their toes, and they're ready, waiting in a ready position. It's easy to attack the ball into the trap. In the next portion of this tape, I would like to introduce drills for shooting. The players in this drill are issue a ball to the side, and then they're shooting it first touch. The player tries to shoot to either far post or near post. They're working both with shooting left and right foot. shadowing the shooter. A player with the ball will dribble forward with a player behind him or behind her. The player that is dribbling will receive the command from the player behind to leave right or left, and then the player behind will take a shot. Please, players, demonstrate.
Right. Left. Right. He's left. Right.
Another drill of shooting that I would like to introduce to you is called dummies. Let's watch our players demonstrate it.
Dummy.
As you notice, the player with the ball is dribbling toward and calls it for dummy. The other player lets the ball go, setting it up for a shot. This could be done between a forward and a midfielder.
Dummy. Dummy. Dummy.
This next drill introduces the concept of chest and thigh traps in the box with half-turn shots into goal. Players, start. The four corners drills require 4 players who will be serving the balls, a goalkeeper and the shooter. A great drill for forwards to teach finishing. The 4 players in the corners will be serving both ground and air balls. 2 of them will be served, one from behind and one from the front, both in the air and on the ground.
Ashley. Ashley. Yeah, Ashley. Ashley.
Player attempts to get to the ball to the first touch as much as possible.
Ashley. Ashley. Ashley.
This drill involves volleys and bicycle kicks. It's very advanced. It's for your advanced players, especially your forwards. Players, start. Another shooting drill is 2 goals at close proximity with 2 goalkeepers and 2 lines of players, each line containing each player a ball. The players get rolled out the ball from the goalkeeper and then they take a shot at one touch.
No. No.
A variation of this drill is to introduce a pass. The player dribbles up and passes square across the field.
Go.
Players receiving the ball can have 2 or 1 touch shooting into the goal.
Go.
A Final variation is to produce a 1v1 situation. The player starts with the ball on the line, and as soon as he starts, he activates a defender on the opposite goal.
Go.
The defender's job at the beginning is just to produce a little bit of pressure onto the forward. And pressure could be increased as the drill progresses.
Go.
Small-sided game, a wonderful way to teach our players a lot of touches to the ball, produce scoring opportunities, and communication between players. It produces overlap runs, takeovers, and all the drills that we've been practicing. In the 2v2 situation, you have 2 players against 2 players with the support of a goalkeeper. The 2 players now are required to go up together and attack, and to support back and defend together. It's a great way to install communication and rotation among players.
Yeah. Take Nikki, take ball. I go. Look. Shot. You got support. Hold it there. I'm back. Nice shot.
Switch quickly.
I go. Support.
As you notice, players here are playing 2v2 with goalkeepers. Ball has to be played very quickly, and it introduces a lot of shooting. The pairs rotate as soon as the ball is played dead or stopped by the goalkeeper with a score. 3v3, the introduction of a third player. This third player can act as a sweeper or as a support while they're attacking, as a third choice shooter, as a third attacking forward. In this 3v3 game with goalkeepers and goals, you notice that the players are supporting, attacking, communicating with each other. Goalkeepers issue the ball out very quickly. The game is played in a speedy manner to emphasize performance, pressure. They're in a confined area in order to provide more shooting opportunities.